Hello and welcome to this video. My name is Carina and I've been a full-time food blogger for 3 years now. Today in this video I'm gonna give you 5 blogging tips for beginners in order to increase your blog traffic as well. Alright, let's get right into it. Tip number 1 is do your keyword research before you actually write the blog post. This is a big mistake I made in the beginning. I would think of a recipe I wanted to shoot, I would take the photos, I would edit them, I would write the blog post, and then I would put it up on my blog, and then I wondered why nobody was clicking on the recipe and I didn't get any page views. Well, it was because I didn't do any keyword research. So this is a huge thing you actually should do before you even start shooting your recipe. Do your keyword research. I can recommend some tools. I love to use Suggest, Answer the Public, and Keywords Everywhere. I will link them in the description box for you. These are the tools I'm working with. And if you do your keyword research before you actually write your blog post, it is a big game changer, because then you actually only write about blog posts that people are searching for and that are rated high on Google, and you don't waste your time with topics that nobody is interested in. My tip number 2 is to actually have a content calendar. What is that? It is basically a calendar that I print out every single month in order to structure and plan my content. So I would dedicate special days for special things. For example, every Thursday there's a blog post coming out, and then I schedule my company corporations. I write down ideas and inspirations that I have for my blog. I write down my monthly goals, and it's just something that helps me to stay organized. And then I also don't forget about ideas that I have for my readers and for my followers, so I put them down at special days. For example, last weekend I had an Instagram live cooking session. It's something I've had on my mind for a long time, so I put it down on monthly goals, and then I actually dedicated a certain day for that Insta live cooking course, so I wouldn't forget about it. So having a content calendar just helps me to spread out my content, to make sure that every week is filled with a different mix of content that keeps the readers interested in my blog. So having a content calendar is definitely something I can recommend for you guys. My third blogging tip for beginners is check your website loading speed. In the beginning, when I started out, I would edit my photos in Lightroom and then I would export them in the best quality possible, because I wanted to have really nice and crisp pictures on my website. And then after some research, I checked my website loading speed, and it was just terribly slow, which is a bad thing for your website, for your blog, because Google likes fast websites. And you should actually make sure that the images you upload on your blog are as small as possible. So before I uploaded images that were like 20 megabytes per picture, and I would have for food blog posting like 7 pictures. So that was a humongous amount of data for each blog post, and then your blog post takes a long time to load for your viewer, and that is definitely not something that Google really likes. So when you export your pictures and upload them on your blog, make sure they are under 150 kilobytes per picture, because that's just the perfect size, and it will make your blog post and your website load really, really fast. And that's something that Google definitely likes better. Tip number 4, let's talk about Pinterest. So when I started to use Pinterest, it really helped to grow my blog traffic, because you have to think that each individual picture that you pin from your blog to your Pinterest is linked to your blog, to your website, to your recipes. So for example, I'm a food blogger. I pin all my recipe pictures to my Pinterest boards, and once somebody searches for a healthy protein cookie recipe and finds that on Pinterest and he clicks on the picture, he lands directly on my recipe blog post. And with that, for example, last month I was able to get 120,000 impressions just from Pinterest on my blog. So that's just a huge difference in order to really grow your blog traffic. So make sure you use Pinterest. It's a great way to increase your traffic. Make sure you shoot vertical pictures for your blog posts, because Pinterest likes vertical pictures and doesn't like horizontal pictures. So everything you pin to your Pinterest board should be vertical. And yeah, just start pinning. It really helps. I like to recommend a tool that's called Tailwind. It really helps you with scheduling your posts because it does it automatically for you. I usually sit down every Monday for like an hour, and then I schedule all my posts for an entire week, and it's really useful, helpful, and effective. So check it out. Last but not least, my last blogging tip, number 5, optimize your blogging text for SEO. Make sure you have a clearly defined keyword, which you researched before, and make sure you use that throughout your text in different paragraphs. Don't use it too much, just a natural way, but make sure you have it in there a couple of times, and also that you use keyword variations, so a couple of different variations that people would look for on Google. That enhances your chances of getting ranked higher on Google. And then make sure you don't use too complicated words, not a complicated language, just very easy understandable text that's nice to read. Use different paragraphs, don't write everything into one single paragraph. Make sure you really spread it out. Make sure you define the meta description of your blog post, because that's going to help Google realize what your blog post is actually about. And then also define the alt text of your images, because that's going to tell Google what is actually in your image, and that's also going to increase your chances of being ranked for that blog post. That was it for my best 5 blogging tips for beginners. I hope you really found this video useful, you learned something. I actually also have a food blogging online course, so if you are a food blogger watching this and you're interested in really kickstarting your food blog, make sure to check it out. I will link it in the description box. It's gonna teach you everything you need to know in order to become a successful food blogger. I hope you found this video helpful, and I'll definitely see you in the next one. Bye!